Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, along with my co-host, Dr. Michael Mantel. Today, we got another absolutely fantastic show, and I'm not going to give it away, but this guest that we have on today is quite extraordinary, and Dr. Mike going to talk about that a little bit more later. How you doing, Dr. Mike? How you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well. The guest today is beyond the top of the list. And I am, as Michelle saw earlier, I am just so thankful and grateful and appreciative because of the connection this guest has to someone who I just live and breathe and talk about. Everything I do comes from this person's writings and teachings and work. So this is an enormous experience today.
Wow, I'm excited about it. Now, I'll get back to Michelle in a minute. But Todd, hey man, this is going to be an absolutely fantastic show, man.
It always is with Dr. Mintel in the house, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Todd.
So I want to lock all the platforms in at the same time at 360-degree health day today, and I tell you, I'm excited.
All right, here we go. We're locking them all in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show.
Hello. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and you know what today is. Today is Wednesday, 360-degree health. And I tell you, on Wednesday, we got my main man, Dr. Michael Mantel, always bringing an absolutely fantastic guest. And he got one today that over the last 3 years, I heard him talk about Dr. Ellis. And I'm just gonna give it away a little bit. We got a bride on today, a doctor as well, and I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. And I tell you what, how you feel today, Dr. Michael Mantel?
I am feeling great. I am thinking well. I'm using every skill I've ever learned from Dr. Ellis, the late Dr. Ellis, Dr. Albert Ellis, and today to have this very, very, very special guest on. It's going to be Michelle, go ahead and do the introduction so we can get.
How you doing, Dr. Michelle? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. And when this guest comes on, you're going to see Dr. Mantel's face just completely light up like I've never seen before. But, so this is going to be a very good show. I can't wait to introduce it.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get started because I want to know as much as I can about the guests and all the things that she's doing. And I tell you what, I'm excited. So, Michelle, can you do the honors by introducing the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest?
All right. Well, it's 360-degree Health Day, audience. And the title of today's show is The Passion, Compassion, and Power of REBT for Coping with Uncertainty and Life Challenges. I'm going to let our guests tell you what REBT means. So we have Dr. Debbie Joffe Ellis. She's a licensed psychologist, licensed mental health counselor, presenter, writer, adjunct professor at Columbia University on the show today. She's going to talk about understanding that we create our emotional destinies and the hows of doing so, coping with anxiety, accepting uncertainty, unconditionally accepting oneself. And she's also going to talk about her book. So please Let me introduce this wonderful guest. Dr. Debbie Joffe Ellis was born and raised in Melbourne, Australia. New York City has been her home base for the past 2 decades. Again, she has so many things underneath her belt. For years, she worked with her husband, the brilliant and renowned pioneer of modern cognitive therapies, Dr. Albert Ellis, giving public presentations and professional trainings in his approach of rational emotive behavior therapy, as well as collaborating with him on research projects until his passing in 2007. Before his passing, he stated and wrote that he entrusted her to continue his work. So there's so much to tell you about this amazing guest, but it'll take more than 2 hours. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Debbie Joffe Ellis.
Well, hello. Thank you to you all for such an outstandingly warm and wonderful welcome. You know, just your energy, just the essence that each of you radiates as well as speaks is pretty much the essence of what you have invited me to largely talk about. So I thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you and with the people who tune into your podcast. There's some audience there.
How you doing, Dr. Ellis? It's an absolute pleasure having you on the show today, and some of the things that you are going to chat with us about and enlighten our listeners and our viewers. And I tell you, whichever platform that you're watching us on, whether you're watching us on E360 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, over 6 to 8 live platform, welcome to the show. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you are watching us on, ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. Or I'll make it even easier for you. You can pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Hey, Dr. Ellis. Now, I know Michelle mentioned a lot of things in the intro, but can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit more about you? What makes you click? Why you still so passionate about what you do?
Oh, that's quite a question. How much time do we have? I honestly, this sounds kind of corny and maybe Hallmark cardy, but I'm just so grateful to be alive and to have the richness of knowing, thanks to incredible, loving, giving parents who modeled kindness and compassion. And then my studies, and then the approach of REBT, and so many things that have supported the gratitude I feel for so many blessings. And so one of the things I adore that sustains me is nature. So when I'm not working, and actually work is kind of not quite the accurate word, because it's a privilege to be able to do what I can to share through educating or as a therapist with people the tools for minimizing suffering and maximizing joy. My late parents survived a lot of suffering. And during the years after they had me, their predominant focus was on gratitude for the blessings in their life. So I learned it early. So anyway, I guess gratitude, nature, kindness in people, and the joy of being able to share more than just, yay, supportive words, you can do it, but the how-tos that can help people who are ready to push their backsides to really make healthy changes if they notice that they're suffering from misery and not experience sufficient joy.
Dr. Ellis, your answer is magnificent. And as I shared with you before we came on, I am overwhelmed, just emotionally overwhelmed that I'm speaking with you directly. Al Ellis was beyond a hero. Everyone who knows me knows there's not a conversation that anyone has with me without me talking about him, having all his books, everything he's ever written, and many of the comments that you've made have just been so magnificent. You touched on things that keep me alive. My parents, they're both deceased, and all that they taught me, gratitude, nature. But I just want to ask you about nature, because we can go out in nature, and nature has become a hot topic today, especially in the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Go out for a walk, it's good for you. But if you go out with the wrong mindset, with the wrong self-talk, with rigid thinking, with all that, you may be miserable out there. So let's cut into REBT, rational emotive behavioral therapy. I want you to tell our audience what it is, and then describe a little bit about the ABC model. Okay?
Sure, with pleasure. So rational emotive behavior therapy, which I'll call REBT from now on to save us like 20 minutes, is the pioneering cognitive approach. Now, I don't know how many of your viewers or listeners are in the field of psychology or therapy or healing, but for those people who are, and for those people who are in different professions or who are students or not even working in terms of a profession, REBT is the pioneering cognitive approach that heralded in the cognitive revolution in psychotherapy. And it's also a way of life for those of us who choose to use it as such. So essentially, it's not complicated. And thanks to Stoic philosophy and other philosophers, from whom Albert Ellis, I don't want to say used, borrowed, but acknowledged their wisdom. One of the main principles of REBT is it's not what happens in life. It's not our challenges. It's not COVID. It's not a tense political situation or anything else that creates our emotional reaction. But as you already indicated, Michael, our thoughts about it. And one of the gifts of REBT is that it, in simple form, teaches us the difference between thinking in healthy ways. And that doesn't mean, oh, everything is good, happy, happy. No, war, tragedies, losing people we love. That's not happy, happy. To be happy.
Hey, Dr. David, hold that thought. We got to take a station break. But we're going to come back. We're going to pick up. We got so much we're going to talk to you about. And I tell you, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on. Go to the comments, ask any question that you might have, or you can pick up the phone and call our KCBQ studios in San Diego, AM 1170 and answer, FM 96.1 the answer. You can call them at 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to dive even deeper in this conversation. Remember, it's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
A black man's point of
Dr. James JC Cooley. That's right. Listen up. It's Dr. James JC Cooley. Yeah. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Dr. JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. It's your life. Dr. James.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, just like a couple the folks that's viewing the show come in, and it's already awesome. We just made it through the first segment. We got a lot more just absolutely fantastic doctor coming your way. And I'm going to sit back. I'm pretty much going to turn it over to Dr. Mike. I'm going to sit back and learn and just enjoy this great conversation. You can do the same, but you can also be a part of the conversation. Whichever platform, 6 to 8 live platforms, including radio, syndicated radio, and all that. I make it simple for you. All you do is pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, I'm Dr. Mike. I got to say it one more time. That's 1-888-344-1170. Or go to the platform that you're watching us on. Ask any comments that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. Dr. Mike, I'm going to turn it right back over to you.
Very much.
In the middle of questions, and we had to take a break. You know how that is.
So let's continue along. Dr. Ellis, you alluded to the fact that the gold standard of cognitive therapy was developed first by our hero, Dr. Albert Ellis. And since people have stepped in and modified and tweaked and played with it, and cognitive therapy has become a term that lots and lots of people use. Do you do cognitive therapy? I'm looking for a cognitive therapist. They don't know much about the difference between CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and REBT. So can you distinguish between these two for us? What is the difference between one who practices REBT and one who is more of a CBT therapist?
Well, in my opinion, REBT is the more holistic of the two approaches. And as you rightly pointed out, CBT is based on the principles of REBT. But its creator, the great Dr. Aaron Beck, brought his work out 15 years after REBT came out. And in fact, my late husband, Dr. Albert Ellis, was a mentor to him. And when Dr. Beck was doing research on depression, he consulted with my late husband a lot. So in around 2003, there are a few articles that came out written by Dr. Beck, Dr. Ellis, and another CBT doctor, Dr. Christine Podesky, looking at similarities and differences. They all agreed REBT is the most philosophical and the more philosophical of the two. CBT, Dr. Beck and Dr. Podesky said, is more scientific, but Albert Ellis disagreed. He said, and I agree, as many do, CBT and REBT are both scientific. REBT, more than any other approach, including CBT, from the get-go gave education to help people understand emotions. A lot of approaches talk about positive and negative emotions, but under the umbrella of negative, it was Albert Ellis who distinguished between the healthy negative ones. Negative not meaning bad in this context, but not comfortable. They can be painful, but they're enriching. They're part of life's healthy tapestry. Yeah, so the difference between the healthy and unhealthy negative emotions and the ways to go about creating one and not the other. So the main difference is the holism of REBT. Just think of it: CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, rational emotive behavior therapy, emotive. So there's as much emphasis on the thinking and the behavior, but more emphasis on understanding our philosophy of life and living and our emotions than in the other approaches. And I'm not saying the other approaches aren't helpful, they can be, but I'm very biased to REBT because over my decades of working, I've seen the impact. And again, I love its holistic manner and the essence of unconditional acceptance that runs right through every part of it.
Wow. Just got a quick question I want to ask because you talk about REBT. Can you define the irrational beliefs? And what are some of the common examples of these beliefs in one's everyday life?
Great question, Dr. JC. Well, when we think in irrational ways, and I urge listeners and watchers to think about whether you ever think in these ways, because one of the things that I think is tragic about human life is too few people realize that it's our thinking that causes our emotion, and they're not in the habit of thinking things through. It's like, oh no, and we stay there instead of, hang on, what am I telling myself? So to answer your question, when we think in irrational ways, we have shoulds and musts, very rigid thinking. And three of the common ones are, I must do well and be loved and liked and approved of by everyone. People with this belief often are terrified of being abandoned or rejected. Another one is you, and you can be an individual or a family or a group or a political group or a religion or not a religion, country. You must act or believe what I think you should. And a third one is life should, look for the shoulds and the musts, the rigidity, the demand, should be fair and with justice. Now, of course, REBT and any sane person passionately desires more fairness and justice in the world. But to say it should, when right now there isn't a lot of it, creates either hopelessness or anger. So to desire it, and more importantly, work towards making it more so, that's healthy. But it should, and it's not. That's not going to create a healthy emotion. So other elements of irrational thinking, lack of humor, taking things too seriously, low frustration tolerance. I must have what I want when I want it, little baby that I am, yeah. Absolutistic thinking, you always, I'll never, and stereotyping and bias and damning other people or oneself and life when things don't go the way we think they should. And another very irrational tendency in our thinking is a need, not a desire. Again, desires can be healthy, but a need for certainty, which is like hitting your head against a brick wall, because demanding things be certain when what in life, apart from the probability that we'll die one day, is certain. So there's some of the elements, Dr. JC, of irrational thinking.
Wow, wow, wow. This was unbelievable to hear this from you again. I have an acronym. I'll offer this to you. I believe that the eye, the iris of the eye, has a tremendous ability to let light in, close light out, determines much of what we see, obviously. So my acronym for iris is increase flexible preferential thinking. R is to reduce catastrophizing and unbearability. I is to increase acceptance of life's challenges and adversities. And S is stop self-depreciating and of yourself and depreciating of others. So that leads me to something you were just, that's my IRIS acronym. I love it.
Dr. Mike, fabulous.
And use it. But I was interested, you mentioned humor. Al Ellis was known for humor. And he said things. I was once at one of his groups, and he said to a nun, and he said, I mean, I love this man. The way he said it, he said, "When are you going to get out of that habit?" He was wearing the whole nun habit. And I thought, oh my goodness, whoa, he didn't mean the habit, but backed up. It's a great joke. That's just one of his many examples of talk about humor in therapy and in living a healthier life.
Yes, of course. You gave a very clean example of my late husband's humor, by the way, and I'll keep it clean out of respect.
We're on radio. We got to keep it clean.
Yes, indeed. So having a sense of humor can really help us keep things in perspective and not take things or ourselves.
Debbie, I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting you, dear. We have about less than a minute. So we're going to start the answer. We're going to turn it over to James, and then we're going to come back to this.
So Dr. Mike, when we come back, please re-ask the question, because
about humor.
Such a fantastic, and I like the hours portion that you mentioned. But I tell you what, we got to take a station break. And if you want to be part of this great conversation and discussion, I'm going to tell you again, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching us on. Ask any question that you might have. Promise you we'll get you an answer. Or you can pick up the phone and dial my main man, Toddy, in our KCBQ studios, AM 1170 Answer, FM 96.1. So, and AM 1170 and FM 96.1. The Answer in San Diego. And he'll put you right through and we'll get you an answer. We're going to come back with a whole lot more of this. We're going to get Todd's point of view up to the point when we come back. So it's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Craving a slice of Chicago right here in Temecula wine country? Then dive into legendary Chicago deep dish style pizza at Rosati's Pizza Pub. Piled high with gooey cheese, rich tomato sauce, and your favorite toppings, Rosati's delivers the taste of the Windy City right to your table or front door. Enjoy the cozy pub atmosphere and an impressive selection of Temecula wines. Come on down to Rosati's Pizza Pub for your slice of Chicago right here on Rancho California Road, or order online at myrosatis.com. Rosati's, where Chicago deep dish pizza meets Temecula charm.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Dr. James Cooley. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life.
impactful life awaits you. Get the new audio version of his book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by Dr. James Cooley on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. Now, you know what, Dr. Mike, I'm just gonna be real. I'm loving this guest. I see why you want to get her on the show, and now I get a better understanding of your hero, Dr. Mike, because you always talk about Dr. Ellis, and to have his other half on the show discussing her points of views about a lot of things extraordinary. Because similar, I think both of them are similar to the same in a sense. And just keeping the legacy going on and also keeping insight on this is what we was doing all our lives, this is what we continue to do is extraordinary. Hold on to that thought right now, Doctor. Mike, Todd, you know it's time for me to get your point of view on how the show is going so far.
It's a great show. It's always a great show with Dr. Mantell. And like he was said, I see why he was so excited for today. Let's not waste any more time with me. Let's get right back to the guest.
Yeah, so I want to turn it right back over to Dr. Mike.
Okay.
Doc, if you can ask that question so our viewers and our listeners it can come back to them immediately.
So much of therapy is a bunch of waffling on and on and on. My husband was wearing a blue shirt, and that made me angry. Let's talk about blue shirts and where that came from. Your father used to wear blue shirts. And On the back of my very first book, this is a little bit of whatever. It's self-aggrandizing. In 1988, Dr. Albert Ellis wrote this, one of the few books that directly and shamelessly rips up feelings of shame and self-castigation and teaches people how to unconditionally accept themselves, no nonsense, from a sensible psychologist. And then he wrote that about me. He had a tremendous sense of humor. Yeah. I want to talk about, let's come back to that, about the role that humor plays in our lives and even in therapy.
Yeah, well, a lot of suffering comes from people taking things and themselves and other people way too seriously and blowing things out of perspective. And humor and laughing at ourselves and life and the situation, which also can prevent the strangulation caused by perfection and this is how it should be. You know, humor lightens things up. And by the way, there's a ton of research that demonstrates the positive impact on our physical health from regularly smiling and laughing and so forth. And yet my late husband had an incredible wit, sometimes a little saucy and goofy, and other times very witty. And he wrote lyrics to popular tunes of his day, humorous, they were called rational humorous songs, and in workshops, whether there were 20 people or 15,000, literally, he would get people to sing one or a few, and I actually pulled one out, if you want me to sing it.
Yes. Oh, this is great.
Absolutely.
It's very brief, and this is going to prove that I'm not going to give up my day job. I am not a professional singer, but here we go. And so listen for how it kind of pokes fun at how we can make ourselves miserable in demanding ways in relationships. It's brief. Love, oh, love me, only me, or I will die without you, or make your love a guarantee so I can never doubt you. Love me totally, really, really try, dear. But if you demand love too, I'll hate you till I die, dear. Love, oh, love me all the time, quite thoroughly and wholly. My total life is slushy slime unless you love me solely. Love me with great tenderness, with no ifs or buts, dear. If you love me somewhat less, I'll still got them nuts, dear. That's okay. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. Oh, I'm coming.
This is why we're having this phenomenal best ever guest on today. So let's talk a little bit about how REBT can help people who are dealing with depression or sadness, anger or annoyance, anxiety or concern, relationship issues. She must love me the way I demand. How can REBT help people deal with these emotions?
Okay. Well, step one, it's important that a person wants to suffer less emotional discomfort, because unless they don't want to change, they're probably not going to change. So let's say someone is tired of being deeply anxious, depressed, whatever. Let me come back to what I touched on earlier, the difference between the healthy and unhealthy negative emotions. The unhealthy ones, and think, listeners or viewers, whether any of these unhealthy ones serve you in any positive way. Anxiety, hopelessness, depression, despondency, rage, shame, and guilt. Their healthy counterparts aren't happy, but they're healthy, and we create them when we think in rational ways. Include concern, as you indicated, Dr. Mike, instead of anxiety. Healthy sadness and grief. Sad isn't bad. Grief is married to our recognition, gratitude, and love of who we've lost or a stage in our life that's over. Yeah. Healthy moral anger, where we're willing and wanting to take action to bring civility and morality, but we do it from stability, not impulse like in rage. It's called moral anger by some. And regret instead of guilt and shame, which again, regret is connected to our moral compass like healthy anger. And it takes us being willing to own as a fallible human, I made this mistake. What can I learn? How can I prevent myself from doing it again? Guilt and shame often there when people attempt suicide.
Incredible. We have a few minutes left in this segment, but what I'd like to do is use a case example. This is something that we have not done in all the years I've done this. So we're going to step in some interesting territory. But I'm going to ask James to describe a little bit about some of the emotions, some of the situations that you and Michelle are currently dealing with. And let's give Dr. Ellis an opportunity to give you a spoonful of care and medicine, if you will, in the time that we do have. James, you want to describe a little bit about what you're carrying?
Yeah, I'm carrying. I feel inside. Similar to what Dr. Deborah just said. Michelle and I, we lost our daughter 3 months ago, and a lot of that I blame myself because maybe I didn't do everything that I could have done. But the challenges that we have, I mean, it's kind of hard to just sit back and blame God or blame anybody. But you know, it's coping with this is becoming increasingly, I wouldn't say bad, but it's just the uncertainties of what we could have done differently. And we still challenge with that.
Dr. JC and Dr. Michelle, I am, as I said earlier, so very sorry for your loss. There are a couple of things that I heard from what you just said.
And Dr. Debbie, if we can you hold that until we get back from the break, because we got to take a break in 30 seconds. And if you want to re-ask that question, Dr. Mike, when we get back, we'll do it. But we're going to take a station break because we got to pay the bills. And plus, this is an absolute extraordinary show. And I want to get back to this. We needed 2 hours or 3 hours, Dr. Mike.
Invite me back.
Oh, hey,
You just cured him.
we're gonna take a station break, but when we come back, it's we're gonna talk a lot more about the questions, and we just absolutely fantastic, famous. Both of these two doctors right here were worldwide famous. I don't know why they deal with me, but I'm loving it. I'm loving this conversation. So I tell you what, we're gonna take a station break. When we get back, we're gonna pick it up and we're gonna continue this great conversation. And I tell you, if you want to be part of this, all you have to do is go to the platform that you watch us on, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z, and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. All right. Hold up. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. Hold up. It's your life. Hold up.
I was going to say, James, we were talking before the break about an intensely personal experience that you were sharing. And Michelle, you might have some thoughts about how this loss of James's daughter has been impacting you both. He was talking about that before the break. What can you add to that?
Well, I can honestly say that this is a new feeling. Since we found out what the cause of the passing is, I feel really sad. I feel sad, and we don't have to go into the cause, but I feel sad because it's something I feel that was preventable. I'm not angry at our daughter. I'm just sad that this was preventable. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Shall I speak?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, Michelle, it is sad. It is sad. It would be unusual for you to feel otherwise, and for you both to feel grief. That's healthy. You've lost a precious person from your life. But one of the ways I think you're giving yourselves, if I may say, a harder time than preferably you should, is when there's self-blame or when you're thinking it could have been prevented. Tell me if I'm wrong, but if when your dear daughter was alive, you were aware, I can prevent this by doing this, my hunch is, oh, you would have done it. I'm guessing during those times you weren't mind readers. You didn't know if you coulda, you woulda. And so regarding the grief and the sadness, they're healthy human emotions, as I said earlier, married to recognition that at least in the physical form, this precious person is not here. A reminder in hopefully many decades, neither will we be. Just big perspective there, but coming back to the here and now. So I wouldn't even advise you to try to change your sadness and grief. Let it be. Watch that it doesn't devolve into depression and hopelessness. They're not healthy. So what to do about those? Self-nurture, gentle. When the grief is so painful, what I recommend, what I've done in my life, one breath at a time, one step at a time. If it's like too ouchy, I make a list. What am I going to do today? And I just step through, reminding myself, understandably, I feel this way. The agony will lessen. And I remind myself of what I loved. So regarding the self-blame, that's self-torture. That's self-torture. And I would say with vigor, please stop it. As I said earlier, I believe if you could have done something different with the knowledge you have now, which you didn't have then, you would have. So I would say unconditional self-acceptance. We're all fallible humans. Very few of us are accurate mind readers. We do the best we can in the moments we have. So I would say gentle. Remember the good memories. When you notice yourself self-flagellating, I should have, and I wish, then stop it and remind yourself in those moments you did the best you could with what you had. And by the way, in conclusion of my answer, we're here now. We're here now. So how much time are you going to spend examining what you should have done rather than just be gentle on yourself? Love her. Love your beautiful wife, Michelle. You love your beautiful husband. And such is life, one breath at a time.
Wow, that was incredible. I feel very good about how you phrased that. We're down to the last 2.5 minutes of the show, and I just like you mentioned, this is absolutely necessary to have you back on the show if you have time in your schedule.
Yes.
And Dr. Mike will set that up. And Dr. Mike, you got the last 2 minutes of the show.
I'm breathless. I'm just listening to the leading expert in my lifetime take 5 minutes to talk to someone about a loss of his daughter and put it into such clarity, no nonsense way, straightforward, direct. And I'm glad that you can allow yourself to be touched by that, James. That's powerful. And Michelle as well. so you can see how REBT, different than waffling on and on and on and on and on and on and on, week after week after week after. REBT is the gold standard. And I just want to thank you very much, Debbie, for being here. If people want to be in touch with you or read your books or your articles, what's the best place they can log on to find all that?
I guess my website, which is www. and then Debbie Joffe Ellis as one word.com, DebbieJoffeellis.com. And I'm on LinkedIn as well. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on social media much, but I am on LinkedIn. And through my website, one can leave messages. So they're the best ways. Read books by Albert Ellis. I mean, they're fantastic. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy and a privilege to be with the three of you, beautiful, hearted, caring, wonderful people. Thank you again, Dr. JC, for your service, and thank you everyone watching and listening.
This is a book I share with all of my clients. How to stubbornly refuse to make yourself miserable about anything, and in Al Ellis's way, yes, anything.
You know, I tell you, just like we got Dr. Stasis, and great show, absolutely fantastic show. Dr. Debbie Ellis, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come back on the show. You're coming back again if your schedule allows you.
It allows, yes.
I just love doing this show every Wednesday with Dr. Michael Mantell.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
That's my mentor. I look up. Guidance. Dr. Michelle Cooley, thanks so much for putting together another fantastic show. Our studios back in California, KCBQ AM 1170 Answer, FM 96.1. I love you guys. Most importantly, I love our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show every day at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we try to teach you how to dream big, think big, and be big at everything that you do. And I tell you, we got fantastic shows the rest of the week coming your way. And I always tune in. Remember, it's your life. And we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, same place. Love you guys.
What are you up to, Jim?
Morning, hon. Filling out my ballot. I'm stuck on Prop 34.
Oh, I was too. Then I did my